Okay, in today's lecture we will discuss about the starting methods of induction motors. In the last class we identify why we go for special methods of starting of motors. To recapitulate what was discussed in the last class, we have identified that we need starting, because we said why do we need starting, that is in the first place, right, and it is because we want to limit the starting current. We also said why do we have to limit the starting current. You will limit the starting current mainly because if starting current is generally high 4-5 times the normal value. If more motors are started, then it will create a dip in the electrical network. So the neighborhoods gadgets will be affected if there is a large dip in the voltage. So electricity board insists that you must limit your starting current, not that your motor gets affected, because your motor can withstand high currents for a short period. But again, there may be a problem if you are starting a high inertia loads where the starting time is large. So I square RT will be large, so it gets it affects the heating of the motor. Now you also need to have a sufficient starting torque to accelerate the load. After all, you need to accelerate the load from the 0 speed to the full speed against the opposing torque of the load. Therefore, motor torque at starting must be sufficient enough to accelerate. Then this will be if there are high inertia loads, you must have enough starting torque throughout the period of starting. So that will be another factor in starting. So starting also is not only depends upon the motor but also depends upon the externally connected load. Then you would like to have low loss during starting. During starting you don't want to have heavy losses, so you want the period of starting must be minimum energy loss, and this is prevalent or important if you have several number of start stops in the process, say in a machine tool or some such applications, where there are several times you have to start, then you have to stop, and so on. So there if the starting period is more, then you have a problem of losses. Then in some cases you may require quick starting, right, for some applications. You want, it doesn't have to, it should not take a few seconds for it to reach the rated speed. You should quickly start, and that may be in some of the fast acting control mechanisms and processes and so on. So so your starting methods have to meet the needs of the application and also make the system safe and stable. Okay. Now we have said that to achieve, last class we said to achieve desired starting, two methods are followed. One is by designing the motor appropriately, because in the last class we said that to have a good starting performance you must have high rotor resistance. To have a good running performance you must have a low rotor resistance. So any motor may not have both simultaneously. So that is one factor, a design one has to look at. And then apart from the motor you have to put some external controllers like starters. So you connect a starter which will be placed between the supply and the motor, so that desired starting is achieved. Okay. Then we said that in the last class we also wrote down the typical characteristics, the motor characteristics, then the load characteristics, and the current characteristics. So last time we said that this is the starting position at when speed is 0, because this is speed is 1, asynchronous speed. So starting current is high, starting torque is, like, if you want to limit the starting current, then starting torque will also go down. So starting torque should not go below the opposing load torque. So this is the opposing load torque, the pink line. Therefore you have the difference between the motor developed torque and the opposing load torque is the accelerating torque, Tj, and Tj, it will accelerate till the Tj goes to 0. Okay. And we plotted a curve of speed increases with time at starting, and it will reach a steady state at time t steady state, and so initially from 0 speed to steady state it will go, it will be a starting transient. So it is a transient process, not a steady state. Okay, till here is the position where the developed torque is exactly equal to the opposing load torque. So that is a quiescent operating point. Now during the whole starting period you expect, because throughout the period current will be high, so there will be oscillatory currents and it reaches to its steady state value. This will be the transient current during starting. Okay. Now next what we did last class was that if you can have a rotor design, there are three possible rotor designs are used. One is these are all squirrel cage. One is to have a single cage, that means you have a one slot and one cage only, that means this is called a single cage. And is called double cage. Double cage, we said there will be one top cage and a bottom cage. That means there will be slots are positioned like that, and there will be rotor resistance at top will be high, because you want a generally what happens is that at starting the frequency is 50 hertz or the high frequency, at running the frequency is low. So due to skin effect, at starting currents are mostly on the top bar, and at running current will seep through the bottom bar. So it is like a two in parallel. So since the current will be only here and it will have high resistance, you will have high resistance at start and low resistance at run, because the RB is kept low, the bottom bar resistance is kept low. And the same thing often is achieved by what is the deep bar rotors. That means you make the bar deep, so that initially the currents are concentrated on the top due to skin effect, and then the other one it is into the bottom. Okay. So that is the method that are used quite frequently in the motor designs. Okay. So to get a little more details of the double cage, we say the top bar has high resistance and low reactance. Why is low reactance? Because top bar it only links less flux, the bottom bar links more flux. That is why reactance of the bottom bar is higher than the reactance of the top bar. But at the start, since the reactance is also high at the bottom bar, it will give a very high impedance at start, because high frequency. So it will give a low impedance. So you will obviously see that more current will flow only in a low impedance this circuit, but then it will have a high resistance, low reactance. So this will be what is achieved. So you can represent the rotor by two parallel paths. One is the top parallel path and bottom one, and top one is only for, this will be only in start, because it is high resistance. The top bar has a high resistance and low reactance. Okay. So the current initially will be only flowing through this, no current here. But when it runs, since the rotor frequency is low, it's almost like DC, this will be flowing in the other bar. Okay. So this will be the predominant circuit under run condition. So you will have a changeover from high resistance to low resistance. Okay. Now if you look at the situation with the deep bar rotor, in deep bar rotor we can consider this as n uniform layers. So you have a deep bar, okay, and it is filled fully with the conductor inside the slot, deep. So you can consider it to consider several layers. So let us say layer 1, 2 goes to n layer, right? So there are n layers, you can just split it up. Now what you observe is each of the layer, if it is a uniform thickness, R will be same. Okay. So this will be, that will be same R for the first layer, but it will have its own reactance. Okay. now let us say R and X1, right? And then similarly they will all be parallel paths, so it goes the last one same resistance with Xn. Okay, so we are now considering there are several, R is same, but there is X1, X2, Xn. Now if you look at the bottom bar, the nth bar will have all the leakage flux. It will link up all the fluxes. These leakage fluxes. So it will link maximum flux, the bottommost bar. Whereas if you look at the topmost bar, it will be just linking very small flux. Of course, it will not return here. So the topmost bar will have very minimum leakage flux, and bottom will have maximum. Means what is as per reactance is X1 to Xn, which will be more? So Xn is very much greater than Xn minus 1, okay, and then continues greater than X2 and greater than X1. So X1 is minimum reactance and Xn is maximum reactance. Okay. Now let us look at low frequency what will happen. At high frequency, that is high frequency. At high rotor frequency, what do you expect? Where will the currents be? Because there, let us say same voltage is induced, so currents are in top layers, right? I mean, this is one way of explaining the skin effect. At run you have low frequency. At run you have low frequency, therefore current will be in all layers. Because at low frequency almost reactances will have almost zero effect at low frequency. Suppose a DC, that means it is only a resistance in parallel. So with this logic, what will be the effective resistance at now at high frequency? Because after all, what is resistance is rho L by A. A is the current, A is the area of the conductors. So now A is small, because you only observe that the current in this bar may be here, somewhere here. Okay, this may be the top portions only currents are centered around. Therefore, R is high. That is at start. So that's one of the desired features. You have a effective rotor resistance which is high at start, and at low frequency, that is at run condition, R is again rho L by A, but A is large because whole of the conductors are filled with currents. So they in that portion, this is the current. Here only this much is the current. So you will notice that A is large, so R is, what will be resistance? At run condition is low. So you have, this way you have achieved by design one desirable feature of a high resistance at start and low resistance at run, and this is also called skin effect, because we know current distribution is dependent upon the operating frequency. So if you plot R rotor resistance with frequency, let us say this is 0 and 50 hertz, so it will go, will it increase or decrease? Will it increase or decrease? When 0 frequency and 50 hertz, it will increase. This is the start, this is run, or if you write other way around, it will decrease if you put 50 here and 0 here. Okay. So, this is the many times it depends upon the design how much resistance is high. Okay. So, to sum up, in deep bar, at start frequency is high and current concentrates on top, isn't it? Current concentrates on top layers and net resistance is high. That is what we have concluded. Then at high speed, rotor frequency is low and current seeps to bottom layers. It goes into bottom layers. So, uniform current distribution, therefore, low resistance at run. Okay. So, this is what is the character. So, you can, one interesting outcome of this argument is, by appropriate design of the rotor, you can get the desired torque speed characteristics, because we have seen that rotor resistance has an important bearing on the nature of torque speed characteristics, although it may not decide the maximum torque. Only slip at maximum torque will vary. So, you can have a desired current and desired torque at starting and running condition. So, based on that, we have got 4 designs by as per NEMA standards. Okay. NEMA is National Electrical Manufacturing Associations. Usually there are 2 major bodies of professional societies which deal with these things. One is NEMA, which is mostly used in North America and which deals with inch units, and IEC, International Electrotechnical Commission, centered in Europe. They normally have metric units. Okay. You have IEC, most of the frames of motors like 112 frame, 100 frame and so on, they are all based on IEC. Means 100 frame, is is a distance in millimeter from the bottom to the center of the shaft. That is the frame size. Okay. So, we have got the different designs. Okay. And class A design is a normal starting torque and normal starting current and low slip. This is one of the criteria of design A. Okay. So, you see this is the class A design. It is a low slip machine. There is quite a normal starting torque around 180% and the normal starting current also, of course, this is only torque speed characteristics, so current is not given here. So, it is approximately about 180% or 170% of the normal value. So, that is called a class A design, which normally the general purpose motors are of that type. Okay. Now, let us go to class B designs. This is normal starting torque and low starting current. That is one of the criterion of the class B design. So, class B design is this, is also same as the class A design, but it has a low starting torque, and of course, the maximum torque is also low, but it is also almost A and B not much difference, except your maximum torque varies. Here maximum torque at 280%, this is around 220%. Okay. Then it has the class B has low slip also, just like class A, but it has high leakage reactance. Okay. And high leakage reactance is the one which causes low starting current, because at starting your impedance is mostly leakage reactance, right. At start, if you look at the starting of the equivalent circuit, right, what is the equivalent circuit at start? It will be, this is the Z at start, RS, RR, XLS, XLR. It is the leakage reactance which decides the starting, isn't it? It is this leakage reactance which decides the starting current and starting torque, because torque is proportional to I starting square, RR by S is same, because S is 1 here. Therefore, you must understand, if you increase the leakage reactance, starting current can be reduced. In fact, that is also one reason why you use them for high frequency motors, because that will have some filtering effect of the things, but that's a little more detail. Okay. So you have double, and they also have double cage or deep bar. Class B designs use double cage or deep bar rotors, and they are suitable for fans, blowers, pumps and machine tools. These are typical applications of Class B designs. Okay. Class A is general purpose. Okay. Now if you look at the Class C designs, Class C design is high starting torque and low starting current, right. So that is the Class C design. You will see this is the Class C design, which is written like this. Here it is almost like high starting torque is almost 250% of starting torque, and the maximum, in fact starting torque is higher than the maximum torque. So maximum torque is not the real maximum torque, it is a pull out torque. It is also called POT, pull out torque, because above which it pulls out. That's why this is called a pull out torque. Okay. So it is all based on the design. Okay. Then they use double cage rotors for Class C design with high resistance. That means you want a high starting torque is obtained through a high resistance, also double cage rotors, and they are used for compressors, because you know these are things which will require high starting torque, like punch press. Supposing you have to use it for hammers and things like that, you need to high starting torque, and the conveyors, because they are all loaded, they need a high start. These are some of the applications for Class C designs. Okay. Then they have Class D designs. It has high starting torque and high slip. Okay. This is a Class D design. Again, it is much higher starting torque, almost nearly 300% starting torque. Okay, but it is a high slip. See, because these C designs are still low slip ones. ABC are low slip, but you see, Class D design is a high slip design. Okay, so that is how all by appropriate rotor designs. That's what we have got. Okay, so these are the, and they use single cage high resistance rotors, the high resistance rotors, to drive intermittent loads. So these are suitable for intermittent loads, that means loads which are not continuous, but you know it may be varying, like even machine tools and so on. Because if you intermittent load, you are not bothered so much about running, it depends upon the transients. With high acceleration, many times you require high acceleration, means it must start quickly. Okay, and high impact loads like punch presses and shears, etc. Okay, so you have pressure, shears, because there are some places you want to go on punching something, and then you require a quick acting oscillatory type of loads. So these are some of the features of the 4 designs that are used to obtain the necessary starting performance. Okay. Now we will next take up use of external starters. We have looked at the design features. That means by design you can get the appropriate starting and running performance, but still you will often it will not be possible. You require to have some starters. Okay. So you use some external starters. So you must have seen in many applications there is some small box sitting between the terminals and the motor, right, where a start, stop buttons are there. Start button is generally put as a green one and stop button a red one and so on. Now the starters we will see what are their functions little later. So there is one called a normal voltage starting. So you apply the full voltage, don't bother about reduction in voltage. It's called a normal voltage starting. Okay, this is called also direct online, DOL. This is a very well known terminology used in industry, DOL starters, right. DOL doesn't mean much except say direct online, that's called DOL. They are DOL starters. So DOL starting means you are applying a rated voltage, that means voltage at start is same as voltage at run. right? Voltage at start is same as voltage run, which is the normal rated voltage. Okay. Therefore, if you say the starting current is normal at I start 1, which will be V starting divided by Z starting, isn't it? That will be the current at start. If you take the equivalent circuit, so you will notice that full voltage is applied. So this will be Z start, okay, and this will be V start, and this will be I start. Though it is tangent, but you can say momentarily, you say I start will be equal to V start by Z start. We call this a full voltage, you call it as I start 1, right? And what will be T start? Will be 3 by omega s. Let us say approximately I start 1 square RR. So this will also be proportional to V start square. Therefore, if you apply a full voltage, you will have starting current will be proportional to the voltage and starting torque will be proportional to voltage square. Okay. So you have the case of the characteristics. Let us say full voltage start. Let us say this is our normal characteristics. So DOL. Okay. And let us have some current, because this is torque. So torque and current now we have got with DOL. Okay. So we call this as I start 1 and we call this as T start 1, just to compare with other ones. Now let us look at other starting methods, which is not really full voltage but reduced voltage starting. So we have seen what is a full voltage starting. Now let us look at the reduced voltage starting, because this is the starting torque is 3 by omega s I start 1 square into RR, because S is 1. There is no slip here. Since it is S is 1, this is what you will have. Okay. Now next we should look at the reduced voltage starters. So I now reduce the voltage, right? Now there are different way how you can reduce the voltage across the motor at start. Okay, you don't want reduced voltage at run. Now one method is called a star delta starter. We will little later we will see what is little more detail. Star delta is you connect at start, you connect the windings in star. If you connect the windings in star, voltage per phase will become V by root 3. Right. So current will go by I by root 3 and torque will go by I by T by 3, because that is square, right. So you have one called a star delta starter. Another called you can have auto transformer starter. That means you can have keep an auto transformer between the mains and this thing. So at start you can have a low voltage, you can have two switches in the tapped winding of the auto transformer, one switch at low windings, another switch goes to run at full voltage. So you can have the auto transformer starter. Okay, this is second case. Third one is nowadays it is possible to have power electronic controllers. You have power devices, high power devices are available, and either they are power transistors or they are thyristors, okay, IGBTs and so on. For that we will it will not be part of this course, but all of you know there are these power there are devices which work as switches, right. So by a diode can act as a switch, a transistor can act as a switch, and a thyristor can act as a switch. So by switching on and off or some delayed switching, you can try to have a voltage across the motor is reduced. You must have seen a small triac regulators in the fan. So what it does is it reduces the voltage across the motor by switching off the supply for some momentary some part of a cycle. So pure full cycle is not there. So you can reduce it. It's called a power electronic controllers. It is also called AC voltage controllers. That means the voltage across the motor doesn't come full at starting. It will be one AC cycle, only part of the AC cycle is switched on. Remaining part supply is not on across the motor. Okay. So, RMS value of voltage is reduced. So, this is also called soft starters because it affects for smooth starting or a soft starting, and this has automatic starting is possible because it is electronic. You can get signals and slowly control the switching of the respective devices automatically. Okay. There is also a series impedance starters. You can connect an impedance in series with the motor. Then the drop across the impedance at start will make sure that there is a voltage across the motor is reduced at start. You must have seen again a conventional fan regulators. See, what you have is resistors. So, when you want to have high speed, you make the regulator to come to 0 resistance. If you want low speed, make the regulator to include higher resistance. So, that is what is a similar. So, instead of resistance, you can also have an impedance if you are an inductor also. So, it will have different characteristics. Now, lastly you can have part winding starting, that is windings are split in such a way that only part of it is at start and some full comes under running condition. Okay. So, we now have the different methods. Now, we will see what are each of these methods will be. Okay. So, one is the star delta starter. Okay. Now, this star delta starter you are applying voltage at start is some k times voltage at run. What is k here? Because you are connecting in star, it will be 1 by root 3, right. Therefore, the I start will be whatever I start 1 divided by root 3, and T start will be T start 1 divided by 3. So, if you go back to that old figure, so you will find if this is DOL, where will be the star delta starter will be torque gets reduced by a factor of 3. So, it will follow the same picture. Okay, let us say somewhere here. Okay, this will be star delta starter, that is the torque. Okay. Now, what will happen to current? Current will be reduced by root 3 only, by divided by 1.73. Okay. So, it will be nearly half of it. So, you may have something like this is I at star delta. Okay. So, this is we have seen compared to DOL, what will it be? Obviously, it cannot, supposing your load torque requirement is somewhere here, it cannot start. Okay. Okay, now next let us see what will be the auto transformer starter. Let us say you have fixed auto transformer with turns ratio k. That means k times the full voltage comes at start, k is less than 1, right. So, you are reducing the voltage across the motor at start. So, here k is the turns ratio which is less than 1. I start will therefore be I start 1 by k, and T start will be T start 1 by k square. So, you can say that in this curve, if you let us say k is half, just I am saying k is half means what will be torque will become, how much torque will reduce. So, it will be somewhere here. So, this will be with auto transformer. If it is reduced, k is less than 1. Yeah, I think if it V start at k times V run, no, because we have say then we should k should be is wrong. No, it is V start into k and T start into k square. Okay, let us say k is equal to half. I think this you please change. It is k into I start 1 and k square into T start 1. Okay, So you will have this current also will go by half. If K is half, current will be somewhere. I at auto transformer. So we now know that these two are very well known transformers. You must auto transformer starters and star delta starters. Okay. Now let us look at the actual how it looks like auto transformer star delta starter. Now this is the actual connection of a star delta starter. Look at this, a star delta starter, this is squirrel cage. These windings are in star, that means if you put it in star, the bottom point here, now there is a shorted this thing. So this whole thing is a short point, and the same, this will be the supply point, this is the three-phase supply, and then this full voltage will come in star mode. Okay. Now if you this will be the start, and now you throw it to the run mode, that is top one, then what you have, then this will automatically get connected in delta. So this how you will have this is a connection of a star delta starter. So you put it down, it will be start, or then put it up, it will be run. Okay, this is what you will have. Okay, then if you want to have an auto transformer, this is how it looks like. This auto transformer starter, that means this is an auto transformer. It's part of it is taxed. Let us say x times V1, or we said k times V1. X is So this is so this will be the start. Okay, at start point the supply, only part of the supply goes to the motor, and then otherwise you have the run where the full voltage will come. So you have these positions. This is a tapped winding. So at the second point comes under start, and the first point comes under run condition. Okay. No, not really. I think the actually it is one. The if you connect the one way this way, so it will be full voltage. If you connect this way, it is the half voltage. I think this is, there are two positions. This is position 1 and this is position 2. Okay. This is 1 and 2. 1 if you connect it here, so it will be the supply is coming to these points, and the motor is connected to the second point. Okay, but if you put it the other way around, then the whole of this voltage will come. Okay, so these are the connections of the star delta starter and auto transformer starter. Next one is electronic controls or AC voltage controllers. In fact, there was a first patent on this was taken by NASA a few years ago. Then it was being marketed by several people. Now this is called, the basic principle involved is as follows. Supposing you put a back-to-back device, this device is called a thyristor. And I mean, we will not go into details of its working. Now the thyristor is like a switch. It is like a switch where you can make it to conduct after at any time you want. See, a diode conducts as soon as it is forward biased, isn't it? Diode conducts when it is forward biased. Now a transistor conducts when it is forward biased, but also you put a current through the base, right? Here this is a device which gets forward bias, and this point is called a gate. So it should be forward bias and you have to pass a current through the gate. Then when after it conducts, you just even if you remove the current through the gate, it will still continue to conduct. So that is one of the principles of the thyristor. Okay, some of you may know what is a thyristor, right? And some of you will not know. Okay, now this is called the AC voltage controller. Now it is by if the voltage here, let us say V and this is VL, if this voltage is sinusoidal, V is sinusoidal, and if it is simply a diode or something, the current will also be sinusoidal, all right. This will be the current. Now if you can delay the firing in such a way that even though this voltage is there, it will not come across it, because this is open. This is like a switch can be open. Then if you delay that, that means at some angle alpha, so you just till that time voltage is 0 across the load, and then it will follow the same. Okay, then you cut it in the negative cycle also. Okay, so you have, this will be voltage across the load at some this angle alpha, because you are waiting for alpha. So if you put alpha is 0, full voltage will be there. But if alpha is 180 degrees, what will be the voltage? 0. So you can have RMS value of voltage across this with alpha. When alpha is 0, full RMS value is there, 100%. The alpha is 180, what will happen? So this is a simple principle by connecting two devices back to back called a thyristor, and you can automatically control. Nowadays with so much of power electronics and signal processing that is possible, you can feed back the signals, and then that means you can have a humanless starting. It can be programmed starting is possible of the motor. That means you can delay. So what are you doing is, this way you are controlling the voltage across the load, right? So if the same thing is now connected to the motor, if you connect to the motor a 3-phase, so each phase you connect that back to back. So these devices are each phase, so this will be a 3-phase system, so there will be ABC supply, and this will be the motor. That means it can be, let us say, star connected. So you are having a switch in each of these. So the voltage across the motor can thus be controlled, right? That is the basic principle of starter. That's why it's also called staff starters and so on. So this is called AC voltage controllers. Okay, so this is one method of starting. It's called a staff starter. Firing angle of thyristors are controlled, but that's called a firing angle, because even though after all, what is a switch? The switch is the one which will have a 0 resistance at close and infinite resistance when you open. That is a switch. Now, in most of the cases, you close the switch by your hand. Here, that is not done. It is the switch is closed by passing a pulse through the gating circuit. Okay, that's all. So that condition is when after forward bias, it is still open, but to make it close, that's what you are doing. Then you can have feedback signals can be used. That means you can have a speed feedback, torque feedback, whatever you want. So the alpha is high at start. If you want to have a low voltage start, alpha must be high, because you want a low voltage delayed firing angle, and it should become 0 at run. So this is the basic principle of the AC voltage controllers which are used. Okay. Then of course just 1 minute. No, let's finish this. Okay. Now the stator impedance control. Just this is similar to a fan regulator. You connect some impedance in series. So voltage start is low due to drop across the impedance, right? But here voltage drop is current dependent. This is very important, you must notice, because the high current at start means more drop. So this will be that means your equivalent circuit will have a series impedance added to the stator impedance. Okay. Then Z reduces to 0 at run. So you must reduce at running condition the stator impedance. Okay. Okay. Next, I think we will take up the part winding starting and other methods of starting in the next class.